run
He was a
Oasis.
champion.
You should. I still never.
Headline in the Racing Post. Duet with Ronan Keating was very impressive. Power can corrupt the mind. I'll always be hovering around, I'm sure. Do you know the third most dangerous place you can possibly go in terms of spinal injuries? The bathroom. Yes, cars, yes, motorbikes, yes, horses, everything else. The bathroom. The slip in there, back, forward, break the neck, high, quadriplegic, paraplegic. Now, the thing about welfare is, you know, a horse is a creature, it's out there, it's galloping. You cannot take all risk out. But if you follow everything, to every rule down, you actually won't let them out the box because the risk they might come out, slip, kick someone, and you have to be careful. And if you follow everything through, you won't go to the bathroom unless you've got a good grip in there and you don't step into the bath or the shower. So I think there's a little bit of a habit in Western society right now to somehow deny nature and try and make everything so safety conscious that in the end you take away what is normal life. And it's a strong thing to say this, but I noticed that Bobby Charlton died yesterday, a wonderful man. But we can't use the word die anymore. Everyone passes. It is as though we're in denial of mortality even. And I think there's something in our culture that is making us not face the true reality of life. And then you only have to you don't have to look very far to see the real reality of life. So when you come to welfare in our game, yes, I think we're doing a great job. I think it's being handled very well. But as I remember when a lovely horse hurt itself at Ascot one day, I said, I've seen a horse galloping round a field. That can happen too. You know, and suddenly they've broken a leg. It can happen. And it's the same if I went up a set of stairs going to the wrong studio here. I half took a funny step going down. Next thing I go falling down the stairs, I might not have made it in. I mean, you know, risk and injury happens all the time in life, okay?
That's Frankie Dettori's last day in England?
I'm quite clear. We've been discussing this for 3 months, 4 months. And the plan of California...
Are you bored with this conversation?
No, I'm not. It's just that Frankie and I have talked it through. It's very clear that you can't stop stone cold turkey. That is something that would not suit him in one way. There's that very interesting Brian O'Driscoll, the great centre for Ireland, after the Raw. You know, for an athlete, as it's pointed out, you don't die once, you die twice. I told Frankie and I discussed this. He actually took the quote and used it on a racing team, on a TV talk sport the next day, actually. But the point is that if you've been completely committed every day into a training, fitness, riding horses, whatever, you're a rugby player, you are in a zone. And it's very heightened suddenly to stare at a vacuum. The other thing, Frankie feeds on the crowd. He's had a very good example of that yesterday. But in the rugby game, you've got a cauldron around you, people screaming, it lifts you. And suddenly, that's gone. That's why a lot of them collapse. Their mind just goes, and they're awful people. They start hitting the bottle and everything else. So for any athlete to stop, you die then, when you retire from there. And then you die when you die. That's the time. And I think for him, he couldn't face that. And so we talked about California, and that was planned from a long way out. He enjoyed his time there last year. Rented the house. He's got himself a place in Pasadena, Airbnb or whatever it is. And Catherine's got bored with the dark winters that we have here.
I mean, so we were all in sympathy with this, to be honest.
So it worked well. And it's very clear to me, I teased him, I said, I know what's going to happen. You're going to ride there, you're going to ride Santorini, you ride all the Middle East, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi, Dubai. That gets you to the end of March. You try and find a Kentucky Derby horse. That takes you to May. Oh, funny thing, Royal Ascot's coming up. And I said, you and John Velasquez, he's a great friend of his, you'll be competing for rides at Ascot.
Not being more... I'm not just talking about horse racing, not being more politically active, full stop.
You know, Rachel could have been an MP.
She still could be an MP.
No, she could have been an MP.
We're talking about people, now they say they want people with more experience, life experience.
It's a bit of a joke here, I suppose. She had someone wanted to be the MP in our area. But they had a chap that they tried to plant into Cheshire, and he was beaten by a local church candidate. And you don't need many votes, it's Conservative Party members only. And so she got a call from Millbank here, Conservative Party headquarters, were parachuting in. We had parachuted in, and Rachel handed her votes over to, guess who? Matt Hancock. So as you can see, political careers can have strange turns. We'd have been much better off with Rachel, but there we are. That was her chance. No, I think, you know, to be an MP is a pretty tough job, and it's not something you want to be taking on at a certain stage of life.
Okay, now you've brought Matt Hancock up. You're going to regret this, but at one point in time, Matt Hancock was seen as a great friend to horse racing, pre-COVID, pre the jungle, and pre all the other things.
He rode out with us. So he won the charity race on Rachel's horse, which was great, and the money went to this. No, it was fine, but there was a problem with other politicians: hubris and complete egomania, and I'm afraid power can corrupt the mind, and in the end, I'm saying it's corrupt. I'm saying that he just lost all sense of reason, and that can happen to people. But yes, he was a big friend to racing and a big help. He used his sledgehammer to break the nut and take down. Betting on a horse race requires, believe it or not, intellectual pursuit. You've got to work out the draw, the ground, the trainer, the jockey, the horse's form, its pedigree, the distance, everything, the competition. It's not something like flicking, but it's equivalent to having these slot machines in there. They're geared to take your money, and that should be targeted, and that's where the addiction comes with young people, which is frightening, and it's right there in their pocket 24/7. And that is what the Gambling Commission should be targeting, rather than someone who sensibly bets having to have affordability checks and an invasion of their privacy. If someone starts asking my bank account, I'm not going to show them. It's not their damn business.
And is that why you wouldn't show them? Because you think it's an invasion of privacy? Or is it because you actually
and it's
think
a nanny state, and I don't approve.
Or is it for a lot of people because it's actually just a pain as well?
Well, it is, but also, you know, it's the old story, isn't it? You're going to wind up, people go to the unregulated markets, the black markets, okay? That's happening very, very fast. But what did happen when they had prohibition in America? You had speakeasies, right? You can't stop. If people want to have a bet, they have a bet. They want to have a drink, they're going to have a drink. And I think we have to face that. But I think the Gambling Commission is, sorry to use our term, completely blinkered in their approach. I hope the message gets through to Lucy Fraser. And I think Martin was right to starkly state it, and that's why I was very keen to make the point, and they should be targeting the gaming, not what our business.
Horses who've run well in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Is there any reason why you wouldn't run well?
Kickback.
10 furlongs? He doesn't like the kickback. He wouldn't like to face the kickback.
Look, I don't know how long we've got. I've had horses that could go and breeze a mile in 1:36 and change on the dirt. Okay,
so you think, yeah, I'll take it.
And I'm going to put them on the dirt unless they can get onto the lead, which is a tough place to get to in America. They get that kickback, they lose their action, they lose their breathing, they lose the whole of the rhythm, and they'll go and finish 30 lengths out the back. I tried it with Roaring Lion and it stopped. Do you remember?
Yeah, but he was a shocking candidate for that, wasn't he? Really?
I think the terrible thing to say about the horse.
You should have run Oasis.
He was a champion.
I've still never forgiven you for not running Oasis Dream in the sprint. That's what you should have done.
No,
that was a terrible decision. He says in hindsight.
No,
he was never going to get a mile in a horse box.
Oh, he would have got the mile.
What?
He would have got the mile.
He never got the mile.
Yeah. Isn't what you said?
See, I love it, these trainers.
Hey, listen,
hang on, I told you, man management. I told you, John.
Before I in the grand.
Before I draw a line to this, he would have broken the Jay's track record in the Nunthorpe had Richard Hughes not been looking in the big screen.
Richard was enjoying himself at York in the big screen and getting his pose perfect with the camera.